Alright, this is the new camping diesel heater. I picked up one of the Chinese copied parking diesel heaters and I put it together with one of these Pelican copy carrying cases here. This is the bladder for it. It's going to be holding the diesel fuel. Outlet in the corner, up through a filter there that I put on the outside, so when I do go to change this, I can leak diesel fluid on the outside, not on the inside. I will open it up and show you how it works. It's not complete. I'm still waiting for the couplers on both sides of the heater here, and on the actual outlet side here will be two 3D printed couplers that allow the air intake and the hot air coming out to go through. This is the exhaust where it comes through. I'm just sizing it for right now, and then I'm wrapping it with fiberglass exhaust wrapping for some temperature insulation to keep the protected case there. Let's open this up so you can see what's inside. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. That wasn't too eventful. Alright, so that's the actual heater assembly here. You're kind of looking at it upside down. This might give you a better view. I'll turn this around. So that's the actual heater there. Air inlet here. Exhaust coming out like I showed before. This tubing here is my diesel fuel inlet there. And there's a burn chamber inside that has a glow plug that ignites and it burns diesel and separately exhausts the diesel and then blows ambient air across the fins so that the outlet is nice, clean, heated air. It's dry and it's exhaust free, so it's kind of a nice alternative to, say, a propane space heater that a lot of people use for heating a space or for camping, and this will reduce, obviously there's no byproduct of it, so there's no, like with propane you get a lot of moisture put into the air from the propane, and it's also physically not going to be hot to the touch, so it's also safe from like a melt your tent or fire hazard standpoint. I'm going to turn this back around. See, this is just an intake filter, just a basic screen to keep the big chunks out of the combustion chamber. The fuel comes in there, goes through the case and loops around. This is the piston pump that powers it. It's got a single piston in it, and you control the heat that the heater makes by changing the frequency of how fast the pump runs. So when it runs, it kind of makes a sound like that, and the piston pumps. And this is a 2mm small diameter rigid tubing that pushes that fluid through, and then that is what actually provides the injector pulse into the actual heater, as opposed to normally you just have like pressure and then an injector that would fire at a specific time. This just uses the actual impulse of the pump pumping to inject the fuel. Basic wiring for this, I set it up and I wired up two external ports on this, so that's well, let's finish up with this and I'll get back to it. But the 3D printed couplers I was mentioning will go from here. This is the inlet side, and on the other side this is the outlet side, so it will couple this to a cut and rounded hole on the outlet there. And then on, close this up, on the side here are my connection ports. This is for the actual remote controller. There is a wired display on this that allows you to monitor what's going on, error codes, altitude adjustments, temperature adjustments, and more importantly the frequency, the pulse width of the actual injector, which controls the biggest way it controls your heat. And then it also comes with this, obviously it's attached now, but it comes with this completely wireless remote that allows you to turn on and off the unit and then turn up or turn down either the temperature or the injector pulses. I also built in an SAE power port there, and that's going to go with my portable battery that I made. I will have a quick spot here where I'll explain how I built this battery. And then basically this just plugs right in. Excuse my frame, I have one hand to work with and one hand to hold. So that plugs in there. And that's how it will be powered. I'll come up with a better solution in the future. This should be enough to get me through a day and an overnight of heating, but I'll probably need more battery power if I want to do extended nights, extended weekends, more than one day. And then this will connect with the truck and then charge the truck. So that's what powers it on. There's the display. This is the pulse, this is the timing, so 1.6 being 1.6 pulses per second. And you can turn that up, turn that down. And it's all controlled from here, like I said, or you can use the remote control. And yeah, so that's it. That's where we're at right now. I'm waiting for my 3D printed pieces to come in so I can get these parts on there. This is the ducting hose that comes with it. I'll have to get something more, but that'll go into the side there, and on the other end, this is your outlet that'll go into the actual tent or space that you're trying to heat. And yeah, so it'll be nice, warm, dry air pushing through. So that's where we're at. I will get back once the rest of the pieces come in, and I can get the rest of this put together. Once I get those circle pieces there, I can get everything hard mounted and stuff like that. But right now it's wired up and plumbed up, ready to go. I just need to get those extra pieces. So I'll keep you updated and we'll give it a test run once it's built. Alright, so the 3D printed kit came in for the couplers, for the heater. It came together nice, individually packaged, everything well labeled. It was a nice kit that this guy makes up for you know, DIYers on this kind of stuff. This is my intake here. It has the grills that are nice and slanted down. The actual inlet, the air intake to go across the heater. An auxiliary hole that he has for a 12 volt, like a PC fan style thing, but I'll probably just leave that open just for ambient air to get into. These are the couplers to help it couple on the inside, and something I'm using on the outlet. These are for the exhaust pipe on there. So that's what I got. One thing that is tough is that almost every one of these is a different diameter hole. So it was getting kind of tough to purchase all the hole saws that I would need. Just they're expensive, and I didn't feel like bulking that up, and I wound up finding this tool. It's adjustable. These splines can be released and move in and out, so you can make different size holes. I think it goes all the way out to like 4.5 inches into, you know, pretty tight, like 1.5 inches is the range on something like this. Because I'm just drilling into plastic, it's like a perfect solution. I don't think that it would cut it for something like metal, but anything wood or plastic, I think this would be a good solution. So I'm going to get to cutting. I'm going to get this trimmed up, and then I can start to get all of my pieces mounted, and then once I get the final placement for the heater in the case, I can get that stuff mounted, and I'll do my final solution on the insulation for the exhaust pipe there. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm going to get to work, cut some holes, and then I will come back once everything is either just about or completely done. Alright, that went pretty well. I was able to get all the holes cut and get the pieces inserted. I did a lot of eyeballing, so some of my holes aren't perfectly lined up, but it's looking pretty good. Let's close that up so I can show you it standing up. There we go. So there is the inlet side. This is the fresh air intake here for the heater, and then this is just opened up vent to the inside. That'll actually feed the inlet to the burn chamber that's inside there. And then on the outlet side, of course, the exhaust on the bottom, and this is the actual outlet here that the heater tubing will go onto, and that'll be what actually goes to the tent for hot air. So comes together pretty good. I have to get 2 more fuel fittings. I want to make sure that the fuel lines that I have on there are proper fittings, not just the little squeeze clamps. I want to get some actual screw clamps so I don't have any issues. And then I have a bit of a mess to clean up here after drilling these holes. And then once I get it finalized, we'll be ready to fire it up for the first time. Alright, so this is the power supply well, specifically for the heater, but for anything else that I need 12 volts for, it's just a standard 50 cal ammo can. There's the lid, and I loaded it up with 4 12 volt 9 amp hour AGM batteries, so I could stand them up on their side like that. They're just you're not going to be able to see that, but let's see if we can tilt you towards the light. That's not heavy at all. You'll have to just oh, we'll try it this way. There you go. You have to just take my word for it. They are daisy chained in parallel all the way down there, and then very simply just 20 amp fused. And then a toggle switch on the end. That'll be the main power on and off here. I use my good friend the liquid tape. Connection's getting a little big for the heat shrink that I have. And then that's the battery connection there. That'll be how I'm connecting to the heater. I have a power cord, here it is, that just plugs in, that matches this. That'll plug in here. Nice 10 gauge wire, so that'll handle easily the power that it needs. And then this end will plug into the side of the weatherproof case. This way they can just sit next to each other, and that'll be the power supply. These are 9 amp hours a piece, new, so hoping that'll give me enough power to get through. I know it should give me enough power to get through a solid night, but I'm hoping I can get about 12 hours out of it, because as it gets colder, the sun likes to go down about 6 p.m., so I'll probably really want heat from 6 p.m. till about 6 a.m. So I should be able to get 12 hours out of this without draining it to the point of damaging the batteries. And the unfortunate thing will be I won't be able to get through 2 evenings with it. So I'll have to work on a bigger battery or daisy chain another set of batteries. I don't know. I'm trying to find the cheaper option. Obviously, everyone's going lithium, but I just really don't want to spend $300 on a battery setup for $1,000 truck. So that's all. That's what I'm working on here for right now. Oh yeah, this is my not married doing projects on my kitchen flex. I'd like to see all of you live-in or married up guys take a swing at doing this to a kitchen and see how that works out for you. Yeah, that's it. I'll follow up once I get everything set up, and we'll do our first test run. Alright guys, bear with me. It's gotten dark outside, but I was able to get the last fuel line clamps that I needed, so I don't have any diesel leaks. I am now officially outside in the dark, but that's the time of year. I filled us up with some diesel, about a third of a tank there, and we're going to fire this thing up, see how it runs. There's our display. which is, you know, this looks fine in real life. It's just the phone, the refresh rate, the frame rate on the phone is picking it up. So you'll have to just take my word for it. At least the light's at the bottom there, but at the top there, that's the pulse. That's supposed to say 1.9. That's what I have it set for. And just is firing up now. The fan is kicked on. And you can kind of hear the intake there. That's the intake fan. We'll give this a minute to go through its startup procedure. Yeah, I can adjust that. That's how I adjust the pulse rate up or down. And what we're waiting for now is waiting for the glow plug to fire, and then once that goes, the fuel pump will kick in. And obviously this is my first attempt. I think I just put it in shutdown mode. That's why we got what we just got there. I think we're learning as we go. There we go. Now it's on. Yep, I just put it down. I just put it through a shutdown procedure. I had the wrong button. There we go. Now we're talking. Okay. So there's our bottom right. That's our glow plug. So we're setting voltage to the glow plug now. I'll let that sit and run for a second. Can you sit up there for me without causing trouble? Okay, that works better. Now it's on top there. Oh, look at that. That's an interesting thing too. You get close and the flickering shows up. If I move away from it, it picks the frame up better. I don't know how that works. That will be something I will definitely be looking into. For sure. I hit the mode button here so you can kind of see we've changed the mode here. This is the altitude. I think it's got some kind of built-in altitude sense, so it's showing us at 42 meters altitude, which is pretty close. 90 some feet here altitude. No errors. That's the amount of time we've been running for. This is temperature ambient. Temperature apparently of the burn chamber. And that's our voltage. If you listen, fuel pump is fired up. So that's tapping away. That'll push some fuel. And then hopefully here soon, there we go. Let's see some combustion going. Now initially it's supposed to be pretty smoky until you get some heat in it. Typical with anything like this engine, your car, diesel truck, anything like that. And I'm already feeling warm air. This is the actual air outlet there. Alright, we'll let this run. We'll let it come with the temperature. I'm going to grab my infrared thermometer and we'll see how it runs. Alright, we're about 6 minutes in on this burn. It is ramping up now. You can really hear the fan. And in the background, you can barely hear the fuel pump. It's ticking away pretty fast now. I got my infrared gun out. Oh. You can hear that. It's just starting to ramp down. So it got past the full warm-up, and now it's coming back to my actual set point of 1, which is 1 pulse per second, and that's the fuel pump. So the fuel pump pulses 1 pulse per second, that's the amount of fuel, and then it runs the fan to maintain proper burn temperature temperature. So let's see if I can get this thing to cooperate here. It's a Fahrenheit. That is my, let's see if I can get like a little, where's my laser? There we go. exhaust is getting nice and hot. It's not really we care about that. We really care about this. So that's my air coming out. I got about 170. High 170s. Like 170-ish air coming out. It is nice and warm. Dry heat coming out. You can smell some stuff. I think I'm smelling the initial fire up and the initial smoking off of all the grease and parts that are on there. Alright, I know what you want. I know what you want. You want to see... You want me to put it right into the ketchup. I know it's brand new. Let's see what it can do. So there you go, 3.2. So that's 3.2 pulses per second. It's hard to hear the pump over this fan ramping up, but that should get us full blaze. You can hear it's getting louder now. Let's check our menus out here. 93 degrees C. Voltage is holding pretty good. Very happy with my power supply so far. No faults. We're 9 minutes in, about to be 10 minutes in. This thing is pouring out a ton of heat now. Let's get a reading on our temperature here. So kind of what I was expecting. We're going to see what the same temperatures here. The difference is you're moving a lot more air. It's moving the air to maintain the burn chamber temperature. So what you're getting with more fuel is more airflow, not necessarily hotter air. So I mean, of course it's going to go up because you're moving more air, but you're see there, even on the lowest setting before, now the highest, we're seeing the same outlet temperature. I'm just moving a ton more air. You can hear by how much louder I have to talk just to hear on top of it. There is our exhaust. Same thing should be happening here. I couldn't imagine that. Nope, I was wrong. It's getting hot. It's getting hot. Makes me think I should probably pop this case open and see what's going on inside. Make sure it's not burning itself up internally. Let's see if I can one-handed open, unlatch this thing. Let's see if I can get you some. No, it's not about as best of lighting is. Sorry about that. It is nighttime out here. Sticking my hand inside. Oh, it's actually not too bad. It is smoky in here. That's probably just stuff burning off the exhaust. The exhaust is almost too hot to touch. I have exhaust wrap on. I think what we're seeing is that exhaust wrap stuff heavily. We're seeing exhaust wrap. Yeah. Oh, we're seeing. Nope. We got some smoke. Exhaust wrap there burning in. I'll leave this case cracked for now to try to let some of that off gas, and that won't affect how things run. And I'll let this run at full speed here for a little bit. Give this thing a good burn in. Alright, that's enough boring you with the details. I'll come back when I figure out something, or we're about to go ahead and shut this thing down. Well, this is my worst fear has been realized. It's hard to tell that fitting there, but at the bottom there, that is leaking diesel fluid. So I waited all this time for these clamps to come in, and it's still leaked past somewhere. So I don't know if this fuel line hose that I have here is not actually fuel line or what's going on, but let me clean this up and see if I can figure something out, and then and get this thing fired back up. It ran good. It's in cool down mode right now. Ran pretty good. Seems like the highest setting it started to leak. The lower settings it was fine, but a lot of that smoke was this wrapping, this exhaust wrapping gassing off. But then I started smelling the diesel fluid, so we'll figure it out. So you don't have to worry about burning your brand new project down. All right, I'll be back. All right, just a quick little update. I seem to have found the problem. I just had a loose clamp there, so we're just gonna tighten that down real quick here with the old screwdriver, and that should get things sorted out. We should be back in order. I don't see any other issues, just a little bit of a loose clamp. So I'll get that tightened up, and then we'll fire this back up again, and everything should be pretty good. All right, I was able to get those fittings tightened. I actually moved them to a better position. The way it works is there is I might as well just show you. So there's a reason why I didn't tighten them as hard as I tightened them. Let's see if we can get a good look at this. Right, so on the fuel pump here, it's the same thing underneath on the actual burner, but that's harder to show you, so I'm just going to show you on this. On the fuel pump here, it's a hard metal line, and then a clamp, so I was able to clamp that down. But here, this is rigid nylon tubing, so it's not super, let's get some light there, there we go. I mean, it's obviously pretty durable, but it's not, it's not metal. So I didn't want to over clamp this metal fuel line clamp, this rubber fuel hose on this. Is what basically, this touches the pump, and this is just acting as a sealer to seal the two together. Because these injector pulses you're hearing need to travel up a hard line and then inject. That's what actually is pulsing the injection into the burn chamber there. So I didn't want to over tighten these down onto this and potentially crack or collapse this tubing, but obviously it wasn't enough. But it seems to be pretty good now. They're not leaking out the ends there, and same thing on the inside there. Nothing leaking on the bottom. I'm gonna run this on the high setting again once I'm done here, and you'll have to listen to this thing roar so I can get try to get some of the last of this just to get the last of the smoke off of all the parts here, so it can not stink as much. So that's it. Everything's running good. I'm very happy with it. I'm also happy with the battery box. I've been running this up and down a bunch of times. I'm still showing nearly perfect battery voltage, so my hopes of getting through an entire 12-hour dark period in the wintertime with heat might actually be pretty probable with this battery. So that'll be the next step. After I get all this burned down, the next step will be bringing the tent out and doing a live test. So stay tuned for that next. So while I sit here and upload my video, I'm going to let this run on a pretty high speed and make sure it's not going to leak, and try to burn off the rest of the oils there on that heat wrap. But I've also got it plumbed in here to the truck, so this will be the first little real world test. I imagine I'm going to be very hot very quickly. Maybe I'll give one more update as to how it is in there, and I'll start getting this video uploaded. Alright, there we are. I'm gonna get this last part of this video edited and uploaded. I have this running through the window here. It is warm in here. I was bumped up a little bit with the flannel being outside, but I am regretting it now. It has got to be going on mid 80s, high 80s, almost 90 degrees in here. It got warm really quickly. This thing, for this small space for a truck cab, is just killer, especially at this higher setting. So anyways, that's all I got. I hope you guys liked it, and like I said, next video hopefully will be an overnight test of this, and we'll see how it does.